First, for Hammers Chat, I have a complaint about something related to Brentford. Usually, we've only got good things to say, and we still have good things to say about them in this video, but I have a big complaint. Anyway, welcome to Talk of the Games match preview, West Ham United against Brentford. Gonzo, would you like to kick us off with your thoughts on the Bees, please?
Not so much now. I want to hear this complaint, I think.
Well, I'll go straight into it. Thomas Frank's treatment of the FA Cup. I don't like it, actually. It's when we are linked to new managers, whether it be post David Moyes, post Lopetegui, Thomas Frank's names comes up. I think, no, I don't want him. I'm not the biggest fan of his football. I think it can be a bit long ballish, but I appreciate he's a really good tactician. He's done incredible things at Brentford. And I think he, if he was to move on to what he perceives to be a bigger club in the Premier League, I think he deserves that opportunity if he wants it. But he's not for me in terms of his style of football, but more importantly, his attitude towards the cup sometimes. It really irritates me. A couple of years ago, when managers were complaining about the FA Cup and they managed to get the replays scrapped, he was one of the biggest voices. I view anyone in the Premier League, the managers in the Premier League, I view them as the biggest voices, regardless of which club, because you get more coverage. The Brentford manager is going to get far more coverage than the Dagenham and Redbridge manager when it comes to their opinions on the FA Cup and the replays. And Thomas Frank was very anti-replays about how it would contribute to fatigue and stuff. And I used to listen to him and think, mate, you don't have European football. You play 38 league games and that's it. And a cup run, if there is one. But you don't even want a cup run. You don't even like the cup. So the replay very rarely bothers you because of your attitude towards them. And he really annoyed me because as much as Jurgen Klopp was the biggest voice, he was the one that was really anti it. I could understand Klopp's complaints with it, right? I could get it because of they had the Champions League, they'd sometimes go deep into the League Cup, then they had the FA Cup. They would play 60 something games a season. I could understand why he wasn't keen on it. But when it comes to Thomas Frank, I thought, you're looking at this wrong. You should look at this as an advantage that if clubs like Man City and Liverpool, those in the Champions League, don't want replays, and that puts them in the camp of let's bin off the FA Cup, this is an opportunity for a club like Brentford to say, bloody hell, we're going to have that. We're going to go and try and win this thing. If you lot want to dismiss it, you dismiss it at your peril. We're going to go and try and win this. And to hear him be sort of anti-tradition in the English game and one of those against it, I didn't like it. Then in the third round, they got Plymouth and he put out a pretty rotated side and they got beat. And I don't even know why it irritates me, but I just think, what's the point? You're not getting relegated. You're not getting European football. We West Ham fans say we've got nothing to play for per se in terms of the league between now and the end of the season. But we haven't always been like that. We've usually had a European run. We've had 3 seasons of European football. We've sometimes had a relegation battle thrown in as well. But I think when you come to the new year and you're in the safety bit where you ain't going down, you ain't getting European football, you're in that bit, the beach bit. You should prioritise the FA Cup, especially if you're good enough. And Brentford are good enough. Thomas Frank has shown he can beat any team on their day. They're good enough. A little bit of luck on the draw, and they could go the distance. Plymouth went on to beat Liverpool, fantastic, but that could have been Brentford facing that heavily rotated Liverpool side. Maybe Arne Slot wouldn't put that 11 out knowing he's facing Brentford compared to Plymouth. We don't know. But what an opportunity it would have been. And I just think when Thomas Frank treats the FA Cup like that, it just really, really irritates me because I feel sorry for Brentford fans. And I think for the last few seasons, they've just been, this sounds so condescending, but they've been grateful to be in the Premier League. And that has to come up was a huge achievement, and to stay up has been a huge achievement. We've covered Brentford. We gave them loads of praise on all the previews we do up until now. But I think you've got to the point now where you're in a bit of a privileged position that you can prioritise the FA Cup when it comes around and go and try and win silverware for that club. And the way he treats it pisses me right off. And I just think Brentford fans deserve a crack at it. Their season's technically over as well. So yeah, rant over, but I just don't like it. The last FA Cup game they won was against Port Vale. They've had a lot of between then and Plymouth. They've had Premier League clubs, but some of those Premier League clubs they come up against also don't like the FA Cup, and they put out rotated sides. And I just think it's part of the problem, really. And you look at the some of the clubs that have gone out already at this stage of the FA Cup, there's a big opportunity for a club like Brentford to go on and win it, but they ain't in it because of the manager's attitude, I think. So yeah, there you go. Anyway, what do you think of Brentford?
Well, yeah. I don't. There's no point me elaborating on what you say. I don't particularly have a strong opinion. I don't even know what you were going to say. To be perfectly honest with you, but if you don't take the cup seriously, you don't deserve to win it. Or the only thing I would probably say about that's also the FA's fault. They surrendered their power when the Premier League became the Premier League. It was the FA Premier League. I almost think they're irrelevant now. But if this new football regulator becomes, there's no point. They will literally be running. They'll be running referees and parks football. There's no point to them. But they had all the power and they surrendered it. So they're not in a position now, which they would have been, to give that FA Cup a Champions League spot. They could have done something as it basically had a bitter spat with the Football League, which is what happened. And then it became so important to them that they're awful. They're an awful organisation. All the modernisation in the world won't bring their power back, and they don't have any. So because of that, I think a club like Brentford, who are brilliant, can look at it and think, I don't know what the prize money is, £4 million. Do you know what? Forget about that. It's not even that important anymore. We spend that on a loan fee for somebody. So that has become an irrelevance, and that's the FA's fault. But also Brentford don't deserve to win it if they're not going to participate in it, which they're not. By putting it, they're not participating in it really. In terms of the club itself, I think, looking at them where they are now in 11th, so. Like, half of my family lived in East London, half of my family lived in West London. So my nan lived right next to QPR, and actually my great uncle, my nan's brother, was actually a non-executive director of Brentford. Now you think of it as like a boardroom, don't? It was a load of blokes drinking tea out of polystyrene cups in a porter cabin. And I only make that point because how small Brentford were. So certainly in the 80s I would even say QPR was a bigger club than Chelsea. Then there might be some conversation about Fulham. Brentford weren't even a conversation. It's hard to explain quite how small a club they are. Now, I'm quite sure that they'll have had some newer fans who have probably got bigger expectations with the new stadium when they started to, when they did the overhaul, when they started to do things in the Championship and lower down to get to where they are now, started to implement that infrastructure. But there'll be a lot of Brentford fans who, you get used to things pretty damn quickly. We got used to European football pretty damn quickly, and I'm sure they are used to the Premier League. But it is miraculous. Bournemouth's miraculous as well. But it's hard to tell you. They were. I'm sorry to say, I don't mean to be insulting. I had nothing against them. As I say, my great uncle, was heavily involved in the club. But they were almost, even in West London, they were a bit of an irrelevance. And yes, it's miraculous what they've done, Gio. It's absolutely miraculous to find themselves there. And maybe there is this exhalation, this sigh of relief. Wow, we're here. Not only are we here, we look like we're comfortably here, and we're here to stay at the moment. So it's a miraculous story of a football club, Brentford. I really think it is.
That's why I think they should try and take the FA Cup more serious when it comes round, because they are, like you said, they're fine. They're nowhere near relegation. When people do their pre-season predictions and stuff, and it is a little bit of a wild thing because you're doing it mid-August. There's still 2 weeks of the window to go, and nobody knows. There's no evidence. You're just doing it based on what you think of that club from last season and their transfer dealings so far. But nobody puts Brentford to go down anymore. There might be 15, 14, 16, around there. But then people see Brentford as a semi-established Premier League club, but they're run so well that they could possibly be seen as an established Premier League club and someone that should be safe. They've got a good manager. As much as I've just slagged him off, he is a good manager, and I think he's at the right club, to be honest. When I see him getting linked away, I think just stay where you are. Actually, you've got it good at Brentford, and Brentford have got it good with you. I think it's a match made in heaven with those two. Maybe one day he'll go on. I think should Postecoglou get the sack, I think there'll be 3 names that come up, and Thomas Frank will be one. I think Marco Silva, and then, as I say, Postecoglou, him, the other one, Pochettino. I think those 3 names will be the ones in the running to get the job there, should the 2 current managers and jobs want that one. And he might take it, but I think just stay where you are. They're a good team. They are a good team, but I just think at some point you've got to aim for a bit more. You can be the plucky underdogs for so long, and they have been that, and they've done really well. But sometimes you've got to just raise your bar up to the next rung. You've got to go up to the next one, which is, well, we've now got to act like an established Premier League club and start trying to maybe get that, go for a little bit of silverware. Because I think, well, if one day they got relegated, let's say in 5-10 years they got relegated, I do think if I was a Brentford fan, I look back at it and think we never really took advantage of that period. We never tried to just go for glory. We just cruised through a steady eddy, and we were happy to stay in the Premier League. And now look at us. Because bar a handful of clubs in the Premier League, I think I think West Ham will get relegated at some point in my lifetime, unless a change of ownership occurs and we become a rich club. But we've certainly had enough warning signs over the last few years. Actually, you can get dragged into that relegation battle, and we've seen big clubs go down. And I think with Newcastle and Villa, I think they're now in that sort of sphere of safe. So I think clubs like Brentford and West Ham will experience relegation again at some point in the next 50 years. I think you just got to take advantage of it while you're there, and I just don't think they're quite doing that. Anyway, final question about Brentford before moving on to West Ham. You know it? Any players you admire?
Yeah, it's obviously the speed merchants are really good up front there, but I like every time I see Damsgaard play.
Yeah,
I like him. Twisty, turny, runs in between players really, really well. And travels well with the ball. Can see a pass. I like him. I honestly, every time I see him play, I think, well, he's a good player. And I got it wrong because when we played him before, I couldn't remember his name. I think you said Norgard. Because I said I can't remember his name. I think it's, and you said Norgard. I went, yeah, that's him. It wasn't. It was Damsgaard, because I saw it. I remember watching it. Oh no, that's the geezer there. I've not seen too much of him in the last half dozen games, but when I saw him earlier on in the season, I thought Lewis Potter looked like he'd become a player as well. So obviously we were linked with him from Hull City, and I looked, oh yeah, no, he's good. He's good. They got some decent players there, but he's they're more than they were. I remember thinking they were bigger than the sum of their parts. And I do agree. I think Frank is an excellent manager. And by the way, if I was him, I wouldn't go to Tottenham. You've only got to look at Conte. You've only got to look at what's his name at Forest to know that there is something very, very wrong with that club. He's definitely better off at Brentford, by the way. But now I think they're more than the sum of their parts. They have good individual players there, and some decent ones, mate.
Yeah, they finally got rid of Rodeslav, which is good. I like the fact that they removed him. I was never keen on him, and they've got this right back in from Fiorentina. Forgive me, I don't recall his name, but he came off the bench a couple of weeks ago and looked very. I think he's 20 years old, but he looked very assured and authoritative when he first came on. He came on with about 10 minutes to go, and he was taking long throws, and he was happy to take free kicks. He was telling everyone what to do, and I thought, bloody hell, for a new player, just 20, you've got a little bit of arrogance about you, and I like it. So I think he might start against us. So they might have a new signing at right back, because they were playing Ayer there, and he ain't the best, and he's definitely not a right back. I completely agree with Damsgaard. When they signed him, my opinion on him was based off of what he did for his country. And I can't remember if it was a World Cup or a Euros, but he'd had a very good campaign with his country. Then Brentford signed him. It's like, wow, this feels like a bit of a coup for them because of how good he was. And when he rocked up there, I think it's fair to say he's been a bit of a slow burner. He took a little while to get into the team. And when I used to see him, I thought, oh, it's not quite, I had high hopes for him, I guess, based on what he'd done in his red shirt rather than his Brentford shirt. But over the last few months, actually this season, he's been their best player, I think, comfortably. He's finally got that creative spark that you thought he was bringing to Brentford. I think he links up really well with the players behind him in Yanelton and Norgard. I think he links up really well with the players in front of him in Shada and Boembo and Wissa up front as well. And that's a good front three that they've got there with Wissa. I think Wissa's a very underrated striker in the Premier League. And when I saw Nottingham Forest allegedly bid for him in January transfer window, I was like, I like what you're doing here, actually. Getting in an established Premier League striker that's almost going to guarantee you 10 goals at least. Now, they never got him, and Brentford were able to hold on to him, but I do think I think Mbeumo gets all the plaudits and all the attention, deservedly so. He's a fantastic player as well, but I do think Wissa just goes under the radar a little bit. But they're doing really well considering, they've got. There's a lot of talk. I feel like injuries has become a big thing in the last couple of months in the Premier League. It's the first defence for any club at the minute. Like Postecoglou, I've got injuries. Arsenal, I've got injuries. But actually, Brentford are one of these clubs that have injuries but say nothing about it. I feel like they just get on with it. We've got Rico Henry at left back and Aaron Hickey at right back. They're missing a two. They've always got players out. Brentford do, but you don't hear as much about it. Maybe Thomas Frank should moan about that instead of the FA Cup. Anyway, right, from Brentford to West Ham. Before we get into it, just one point in direction of this video sponsors Match Bingo. Now, if you would like to add a little bit of spice to your viewing of this fixture on Saturday afternoon, then maybe this will be the app in the game for you, because there's two promotions plus an enhanced prize pot. The prize pot's usually £275. For this game, it's £325, and it's £2 per play, so low cost. And hopefully somebody, one of you lot, hopefully will win the full house and bag yourself £100. It's combining bingo with base match. You get 15 things you need to occur, events in the match. Some of them are easy. I don't want to say they're guaranteed, but I'd be shocked if you had none. I'd be incredibly shocked if you had none. I don't know anybody that's had nothing on the card before, because you may need things like Brentford throw-in, West Ham goal kick, West Ham shot on target. You will need things that feel like they're guaranteed. Then there's a slightly more difficult ones to determine who wins the money. Pays out first line, second line, as well as full house. Plus, there's a bonus pot as well for anyone that gets full house, but we're not first. Please do use the link in the description below to download the app. Use that one, or the one in the pinned comments, so you know you come from Hammers Chat. The two promotions are deposit £10 and you'll get £10 free credit. So you get 20 quid, so a little bit more bang for your buck. And also in this game in particular, if you buy 4 cards, you will get your 5th card for free. Get involved, good luck, and hopefully we can add some new names to the list of winners. We stopped counting at about 50. We're guessing there's over 100 winners from Hammers Chat. We don't know. We gave up counting, and a lot of those people have won multiple times. So join the winners, join Match Bingo, have a little bit of fun. Good luck. Gonzo, would you like some team news?
Yes, please.
I feel like I've been talking ages. I'm going to continue because there's quite a lot of team news. Jean-Clair Todibo is back. Lucas Paqueta is back. Edson Alvarez is back. Somerville, however, is not. Michael Antonio and Nicolas Füllkrug are also out. But James Ward-Prowse is available for selection, as is new signing Evan Ferguson. Now, myself and Gonzo are going to discuss 11 we would like to see, not what we think Graham Potter will do. 2 different conversations. And for once, Gonzo, we've got some options. We've got some selection headaches here, with possibly some big players being left on the bench.
Good.
Right.
Good. Well, it's nice to have selections. Last thing I want to know, I'm sick of this. We basically all our good players are on the pitch and we got no one on the bench. Good. So we'll have some fun with this, I think.
I thought you meant good that you're benching a big player. Like, ooh, who are you looking forward to benching? Anyway, goalkeeper and defence. What would you like to see?
Well, I'm making this up as I go along. I've not, as you know, I've sort of rushed back to the video, so I've not made my notes. But I've been thinking about it while you've been speaking for a long period of time, and I'm going to go with Areola in goal, and we're going to obviously go with the back 3 because that's what Potter will do. So. I think I'm going to bring Aaron Wan-Bissaka back in for this one, into the back 3. Now, as I don't think Todibo, whilst he's back training, I can't see any way that Todibo can be fit for this one. I can't bring Mavropanos in, and I can't play Soufal up against
Sharda.
Sharda is just too quick. Even if Wissa might pull out, I know Mbeumo is more the other side, but even if Wissa pulls over that side for a little bit, I can't. It just can't be done. I don't think so. I'm probably going to have to put Cresswell in the back line as well. So I just can't put the 2 of them in there. So I am actually going to put Aaron Wan-Bissaka at right centre-back, with Max Kilman at centre-back, middle centre-back, and left centre-back will be Aaron Cresswell.
Areola for me as well. I think he had 2 excellent, outstanding saves against Chelsea. No reason to drop him. I agree with Kilman as a centre-back. I'm going to put Todibo in because I hope he is fit enough. If not, then I'll discuss it with you in the build-up show. But I would like to see Todibo come in and continue with Aaron Cresswell over on the left-hand side. I think he's been fine. I think he's been all right. I appreciate he's not quick, but I don't think that's been exposed. This might be the game it finally comes to fruition, and Embo gives Creswell a really hard time and we struggle, but I've not seen it yet. So I think Creswell's in the team on merit as much as lack of availability from other players as well, because there is options. I could have Casey, I could have Mav Panos, I could have Sufal if I wanted to move them over. I don't want that. I want Creswell. Right, moving into our... Well, who are you going to play right wing back then?
Well, I'm going to play Mohamed Kudus there. I think if Somerville can play there... Well, if Somerville can play there, why can't Kudus?
Because he doesn't work as hard.
I don't know.
Tracking back. I'd track him back.
I thought he was good against Chelsea. I felt like it had it coached into him against Chelsea. I thought he was working really hard in defence. I know he had that silly little dribble thing.
Okay, well, let me change it. I think he was working hard. I don't think he's good enough at it. I don't think he reads the play well enough. I mean, he shouldn't. Why should he know what to do as a defender?
Well, I didn't think Somerville. I know what you're saying. I didn't think Somerville was yet. He played him there, so I'm just going on that. And you know, he's clearly instructed him, even a short period of time. There's no way Somerville in his early under Lopetegui showed any. I mean, maybe it won't be why would the Leeds fan be watching this? But you know, maybe a Leeds fan could educate me on what happened over there. But I certainly didn't see in his first few months at West Ham.
I don't know.
He played as winger, as a guy that was constantly tracking back. There was one big tackle.
I better say there was a game. There was a game he ran back 60 yards and put in a last ditch defensive.
There was, but there was also times during Chelsea where Kudus was really, battling and helping out the defence. So I just want to go on the front foot for this one, and I don't want to put Bow in there basically. And look, make no mistake about it. If I honestly thought Todibo was back, I'd play him there. I really would, and I love Wan-Bissaka there. I think it's brilliant. But for this one, so I'd go with Kudus there. So I've got to string 5 across the middle, basically, haven't I? And we'll put Emerson on the other one, which gives me 3.
Two central midfielders.
2 central midfield, which is going to be Alvarez and Souček. And then yes. Yeah, it's all right. It's in my mind. I've got to pick it. I'm picturing it in my mind. Go on, you carry on.
Basically, you've got 2 number 10s and a striker left to pick.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stick with Wan-Bissaka right wing back. I think he's been really good in that role. I agree with you. In regards to Alvarez and Thomas Souček, I think Souček's been performing really well of late, and I think Irving gave a good showing of himself against Chelsea. He did nothing wrong, but I agree with what you just said, that we need to be a little bit more on the front foot here. And I think I think we missed him against Chelsea. And Alvarez had a couple of good games prior to that Chelsea one. He was only not available because of injury, nothing to do with form or anything like that. So Alvarez comes back in for me. And I'd go with Scarles over on the left side. I'm not convinced by Emerson. I think he was massively at fault for their first goal. Yes, it shouldn't have stood. There was a foul on Jared Bowen. However, I still think Emerson completely switched off. Neto crossed it, jogged into the box. Emerson remained where he was when the cross was made. And then the ball rebounds to Neto and he sticks in the back of the net unchallenged. So for that reason, I bring Scarles in because I want to see him tested as well. I want to see, can you be one of our options at left wing back next season? That's the question. And at the minute, I don't know. My answer is I think so, but I need to see more evidence. So for that reason, Scarles goes in. Have you now decided who?
Yeah. No, I decided anyway. I had it right. Yeah, absolutely. So
I think I know them, but I think we've got the same ones here.
Yeah, the number 10s will be Bowen and Paqueta with the big fella Ferguson up front.
Yeah, completely agree. I'm really looking forward to seeing Jared Bowen in this right-sided number 10 role. I think you will. I thought he was good against Chelsea. I think he was our best player by quite far. But I also feel like even though he was our best player, I still feel like he was hindered by the role he was playing, which was a striker. He's done all right as a striker at West Ham, but I think for large periods of the game, you can tell he's not an out-and-out striker. But also, I think when Jared Bowen comes alive in games when he's playing a striker role, I think he's usually doing something that he would do in a deeper position, whether he's pulling out wide or he's dropping back to receive the ball and turning and running at defenders. I'm really excited to see Bowen play this role under Graham Potter. Lucas Paqueta has possibly been the best player under Graham Potter so far. And then time for an Evan Ferguson debut.
Yeah, absolutely. Why not? You know, so look, he came back. He played against whoever he played against. He come off the bench against Brighton, and they lost. They lost in the last game that they played. Yeah, and he came off the bench there. So Potter's even said no. He's ready. I like the way Potter spoke about him. I really did. Potter was asked if he was going to take baby steps with him, and Potter said no. He played for Brighton. And then we said we just got to decide he's fit. He's ready to play. Just we've got to decide whether he starts or he's on the bench. Start him. You know, one of the benefits of it being just a loan and not an obligation to buy. He's not our player, Gio. We need him and we need a striker. So we got him on loan. We're obviously paying good money for it as well. Let's play him. We've had one glimpse, one 13-minute glimpse under Graham Potter of how his team will play with a focal point, and I liked it. And it was just a little peek through the keyhole sort of thing. I want to see this guy. I think this guy can do a lot of the stuff that Fulkrug can do. Certainly, I think it gives us another goal threat, and it depends what he wants to do. I mean, whether he'll then not last the whole games he's on when you introduce James Ward-Prowse, which is another major threat. You know, might not be everyone's cup of tea, and I think there was a lot of people who were a bit of a downer about him coming back. But he's even if you're not his biggest fan, you will still concede that he is very, very good at set pieces. I think that's a real tool to be able to bring on, and I'm looking forward to seeing that as well. I think it'd be really dangerous. I think because of the way Potter is, because he's a pragmatist, you will find him on the right side of midfield, somewhere where he can deliver those crosses. And I think if Ferguson's on the pitch at the same time, that'd be really good as well. So I think there's much to look forward to here actually, and I wouldn't be surprised by the way. Let me say that. I wouldn't be surprised if he's back with us, if he gets that millstone off his back by equaling David Beckham's free kick record.
Yeah, the bench is looking good actually. And we've obviously I've got Todibo and you've got Kudus. That's the only difference to ours, and Skiles and Emerson, I should say. But when I'm looking at those on my bench, and the reason I'm putting Kudus on bench, by the way, is just I'm picking which player I want in each position. I would prefer Bowen over Kudus in that role. I think having on the bench Kudus, Ward-Prowse, Carlos Soler, Guilherme, who looked bright at Stamford Bridge, Irving, who played well at Stamford Bridge. We've all of a sudden, our bench is starting to look not too shabby going into this game, actually. And it's not something I felt under Graham Potter's tenure so far. You usually look at the bench and think, there's not much there to bring on. But if we're losing or drawing or whatever, or even if we're winning, you've got options on there to come on just to tighten up a little bit. I'm looking forward to it. Do you think this will be the first game we get a good idea of what Graham Potter intends to do at West Ham due to the options available?
I do, because he'll have had a week on the trading pitch as well, which I think is really well. Yeah. I mean, whatever.
A few days off.
Gave him the weekend off. Why not? But yeah, he's had a good period of time.
Any idea what Paqueta did with his weekend off?
I'd rather not say at the moment. I'm a bit worried about what you can and can't say on that front, actually. I think we'll see something. I think we'll see the next phase. He's talking about incrementally introducing his tactics. That has impressed me as much as anything else, Gio. I have to say that the fact that he's put the reins on it and he's obviously walked in through the door and thought, right, that defence is shocking. Let's sort that out. And I really felt against Chelsea. I know we lost, but that would have been under any other point in the last 12 months. That would have been a 5-goaler. You know, they would have absolutely done us. And I thought not only was it tight, not only did I think we were unfairly done by the officiating, but we were still at them at the end. And that chance that Kudus had was a good chance. Actually, it was a really, really good block at the end. So yeah, I think there's a lot to look forward to, but I do think you're right. I think the next bit forward will be him saying, right, let's introduce that next layer, basically.
Yeah, I'm expecting a bit more from us on Saturday because there's been reasons, not excuses. I think excuses can sometimes sound a bit like, well, it is what it is, an excuse, whereas a reason, I feel like it's two just slightly different things. But the reasons given for us perhaps not attacking teams like Crystal Palace was, well, look at the attacking options. What's he meant to do with those players available? Even though I was frustrated with the Palace game, I could get it. I can get the argument and say, well, okay, fair enough, right? He's hands are tied. There's not much available to him. When you're looking at the players available to him this weekend, well, I think it's fair to expect more attacking intent from West Ham. Whereas I feel like in a few games we've gone back there and the priority has been to keep it tight, but try and get something on the counter attack. Whereas against Brentford, it might be a bit different, which is here's the ball. Now what you're going to do with it, because Brentford will be the ones that are happy to sit back and try and spring a counter attack on us on Saturday. But with the players available, I think he's now got the potential to come up with a solution here on breaking Brentford down. And he's got options, and that's important. It's not like he's got 3 fit attacking players. He's got various fit attacking players here. So 1 or 2 of them will be on the bench. I've got a feeling he'll start Ferguson on the bench, and we will see a front 3 of Kudus, Bowen, and Paqueta. That's what I think he will do. But even that is good because you've now got Ferguson on the bench as well as Guilherme, Ings, Ward-Prowse. You've got Carlos Soler. You've got you've got options there, and I like it. This is important. But I do think we'll get a good insight into how Potter wants to play in the build-up phases to the attack. Because against Villa, we kept putting in loads of crosses in the second half, and it worked, and I liked it. But how are we going to attack Brentford? Because I would suggest that all those crosses perhaps won't work against them because usually they're quite good at defending crosses from open play. Anyway, before I ask Gonzo if he's fruity, just want to quickly point in the direction of our Patreon because we've got a prediction competition for this game, as we do for every single West Ham game. Predict the correct score and the first score of the match. Get it right, you're in the draw, and someone will win the big prize depending on which tier they're subscribed to. Top prize this weekend is this signed Sir Trevor Brooking shirt. There you go, signed by the legend himself, replica of when we won the FA Cup back in 1980. Go to patreon.com/Hamish Chat to join up. We've done some videos over there about Hamish Chat. It's gone down really well. Behind the scenes videos, as we call it, where we answer questions from patrons about Hamish Chat. So if you're wondering how we get on with brand deals, how we met, I can't remember what else we've discussed now across the 2 episodes, but it's very candid.
A few things,
It's very honest chats about running a YouTube channel. It might not be for you, but if you think I quite enjoy that, that's different. It's not just football stuff we do over there. Patreon.com/Hamish Chat. Links in description below. Thank you very much to anyone who joins up and supports us. Much appreciated, and good luck if you enter a prediction competition. Gonzo, you feeling fruity?
I am. Oh yeah, definitely. It's been a long abstinence, certainly. I feel so. Yeah, I am. I think he's got options for all the reasons we discussed. I was feeling good about it anyway. I like him. I like the way he speaks. I like the way he's, as I say, I like his pragmatism. I like the way he's sort of got on board with so many things. He's just doing so many things right. But do you know what? I don't feel like he's ticking boxes. What I've got in Graham Potter is received as a West Ham fan getting a man. He is a manager. I'm going to stop calling him a head coach because if that's his title, he's not. He is a manager in every facet that I can see. He's in charge, and he's far more confident than I thought he was. He's smart than I thought he was. He carries more authority than I thought he did. I had an illusion that he might be wedded to this overly pretty style of football. What you said about the Chelsea is absolutely right. It's right. Bang it. Let's bang it up. Let's try and get Souček in the box and let's try and do a few things. There's this layer to him as well, which is pragmatism. I like it. I wanted one of the best things I ever heard, Gio, and it was something when Sam Allardyce came in. He said, I'll basically want to get 2 styles of play and eventually 3 styles. We're going to play differently at home. We're going to play differently away. We'll have 2 different sets of tactics. And then I want to get a 3rd one as well. And I thought, wow, it never happened. But I thought, wow, that sounds good. This sounds brilliant. The way he described it was really good. I think we might be about to get that with him. And I really like it. And I got as we discussed in the previous video, Jay, I've got no problem at all with us sitting back and counter-attacking the top teams. The poster boy against that, the poster boy of David Moyes' tactics for me was the way we went against Sheffield United last season. That was it. If you wanted to show someone something, that's the problem. That's the problem. It's negative. Sit back, park the bus against a shit team, and I think we're going to go for the jugular. I think if we see a wounded animal, we're going to go for it. I think if we see a mega super club, then we're going to play them accordingly, and we're going to cause them problems. And I think we have a manager who may well look at where the opposition is weak and change things accordingly. Like you said, maybe that won't work. Maybe that won't work against Brentford, hitting it long and into the box. I have no doubt that he will have observed that. I spent too many times in the past doing these videos, in the past year, in the past 12, 13 months, sitting there and saying, has he actually watched the opposition play? And I don't feel that's the case anymore. I know it's early days, and I know results haven't gone. I'm not hailing him as the best coach in the world. But West Ham are a good club, and West Ham spend money, despite what I understand people's frustrations in the transfer window. But West Ham do spend money, and if all we need really is a competent manager who's got some varying tactics, who's going to sort of get it. And if you got, I think we might have that. And if we got that, then it makes me look forward to games. And I am, and I thank him for that. I'm looking forward to this game.
Yeah, me too. My routine is as well and truly back for this for two reasons. The small reason is Brentford 2 wins in the last 11 games. They're not. They tend to do this, Brentford. They tend to get to safety, then sort of coast through to the end of the season. I always think they're one of the first teams on the beach, if you like. I do feel like that. But 2 wins in 11 is nothing to write home about. And one of those wins was against Southampton, so does it really count? So they beat Crystal Palace and Southampton in that run. So they're not in great nick themselves coming into this one. But I'm really looking forward to this game. I have been looking forward to the next one under Potter every game so far. But this one, because there's been a gap since the last game. And even though we got beat, I thought we played well against Chelsea. We're very unlucky. And whenever the final whistle goes at the minute, I just want the next one. I want more.
Yeah.
So I've had a 2-week wait. So I'm starving for a bit of Potter ball this weekend. But with the players coming back as well, like I said, I think the biggest reason you can say that we've perhaps results haven't reflected performances so far under Graham Potter is because of injuries. And I subscribe to that notion myself and / inactivity in the transfer window, because I think there's maybe been 1 or 2 games you look at and think, well, if only we had a striker, we might have actually won that. Villa in particular, the home one in the league, we had a striker in that one. Sorry, it wasn't at home, it was away. But in the game against Villa, had we had a striker, I think we might have won that game. But done. That's done now. This is as full a squad as you're going to get. If we're only missing 3 players, Somerville, Antonio, and Fulkrug, that's as good as it's going to get in the Premier League. I think every team will be missing 3 players this weekend, right? So this is no longer injury crisis. We're out of that. We're now into good selection of players available. Interesting decision to give players a weekend off. I'm not against it, by the way, but a lot of teams went away and did their hot weather training like Arsenal do every year, and plenty of teams have gone away. Nottingham Forest did. That's why poor James Ward-Prowse went off to Dubai with Nottingham Forest and got a phone call and got told to get his arse back to London. Yeah, you've missed out. No hot weather training for you, James. Saying that, he's got skin like me. He probably appreciated it. I think he's sizzled out there. But anyway, James Ward-Prowse returns. So I'm looking forward to it. I've got high expectations for this one, actually. It's the first time in a little while that it's not that I think we will win. I expect to win. That's dangerous because that can lead to disappointment sometimes. Gonzo, any final words on your score prediction while I write your score prediction down?
Yeah, they say a break is as good as a rest, and I do wonder if Potter, with the couple of days off, looked at, do you know what? I'm actually going to spend the next 5 days bombarding these players with new tactics. Go away. Do what you got to do. I think I remember Saka jumped on the Eurostar and went for a little trip around Paris or whatever he might have done. Brilliant. Go and do your stuff. Go and do what you got to do.
Valentine's Day in early.
Yes.
Adding Saka.
Yeah. So yeah, why not? Hey, he can't do anything wrong, really, can he? Let's be fair.
No, so, you can't. No,
I'm surprised
can't. I'm surprised it wasn't you that went with him.
I would have said yes.
Just uninvited.
I would have said yes. Yeah, so look, you give the players a bit of a break. He's done that. Come back. Right, okay, lads, here's the next the next layer of tactics. Here's what we're going to do, and here's how we're working towards Brentford. I'm excited about it. I'm going with, let's see your paper. I'm going with 3-1. Oh, I'm Mr. Predictable, aren't I? There you go.
Knew it. I'm going to go 2-0. I'm really, really looking forward to this game. Let's get a good performance. Let's get a win. 3 points in the bag. But do you know what I want? Fun. The fun has been back so far, but we've not been winning games. I want to win a game, and I want to enjoy watching us this weekend. I want to have fun. I want to see us trying to score 3 goals in a game of football. I want to see Jared Bowen purring like we were used to. I want to see Evan Ferguson having a big say on his debut, hit the ground running, so we can look forward to the next game with Evan Ferguson. We might have Paqueta and Kudus. We've got lots of players. I'm just really looking forward to it. The only small thing I hope, and it's a minor thing, is don't give up on the academy players just yet, even though you've got all these senior players available. I hope there's still a little bit of room for, I think all the Scarls will be on the bench, but I've got a feeling he might be the only one. I'm not sure we'll see Casey and Orford, which I understand because we've got Matt Panos on the bench and we've got Andy Irving on the bench, which there's already 2 players. So I just hope Scarl still gets minutes, even though he turns around to his bench and he's got Ferguson and Ward-Prowse and Carlos Soler there. I hope he still looks at all his scars and goes, "You're my man. You're going on it." I think he will. So I just hope the academy players continue to get opportunities. But anyway, I am looking forward to this one. Gonza's looking forward to this one. Let us know how you are feeling in the comments below. But if you enjoyed this preview, please do drop a like on it by clicking thumbs up. Subscribe to Hammers Chat. Myself and Gonzo. Catch you in a bit.